If you may recall, some time ago, when our minister came to continue working now as the Minister of Agriculture, we had a lot of meetings that had to do with the county governors, because the first of his assignments was to ensure that we are well aligned with the principles of the counties. And one of the critical components that was discussed in many of these meetings was about the cross-county borders. And I must mention that this has been in discussion, and I believe that when our MD comes to our office to also be able to meet our minister with the rest of the other key leaders, this is a component that I know and I'm aware that it is actually under discussion and is actually being tackled in a very positive way. The other component I would also like to mention is on the matters of the market support for farmers' produce. It is important to mention that there are several programs that the ministry is doing. But one of the things we are looking at is which are those programs that are also able to give us the highest level of production. Because even for the costs to go down, there needs to be food on the table, not just for the part of the country, but for literally every individual Kenyan. And we're looking at the component of irrigation, for example, and I also remember hearing the issue about drought-resistant crops. We are also very, very much focused on the ASAL areas. And one of the things that we'd be urging the team here is to also be able to think about how do we also come up with saline drought-resistant kind of seeds. You may realize that one of the biggest challenge has been ensuring that food gets to the people in the ASAL areas. As we are speaking now, we are having quite a number of discussions on how we can be able to bring our production to a higher level, having to increase production in the ASALs, and especially in the regions of Garissa and Turkana. And while we are recognizing the component of the saline water, I believe that the team seated here is also able to work closely with our other colleagues, like in Calro and the KEFIS, to see how do we also get the seeds that are also resistant, or not necessarily resistant, but they are able to give us production from this saline kind of environment.
The Kenya government is also putting up food safety laws. And soon even the local market will be regulated for pest control, for MRLs, that maximum residue levels of pesticides in the food. If your farmers will not be able to access the market, how are you going to get the money out of them? So it's important that whatever you are doing, whatever businesses that you are doing, have your customer in mind, make sure they get the best, make sure they are able to do sustainable businesses. I know over the years we have really lost our market for French bean. Yeah? The kind of volumes we used to export have gone down even more than a half. And very many people who would find opportunity in that market are so scared of venturing into it. Despite the fact that the Kenyans find beans, I don't know whether East Africa Seed sells French bean seeds. Despite the fact that the Kenyan fine beans are the most popular in the market. But continuous interception in the market due to pesticide residue in the beans has made it difficult for people who really wish to trade. And when you evaluate, you see that the pesticide that is being used is not even approved for that purpose. So I would want to encourage you, understand the products. Since you are doing the extension work, as I said, you are the extension number one, the extension officers number one. Advise the farmers properly so that they can also thrive in their businesses and they take the opportunities that are there for them, and your businesses will be greater.
We have a lot of the field crops that we are changing. We're adapting hybrids. We're developing some drought tolerant. Again, you heard about the beans, you heard about the maize. but we're also developing some sunflower. We've got sorghums that we are dealing with. So we're excited about a product or the package of product that we are trying to develop for your market, which may be in East Africa, or for the specific area that you grow in. So climate smart crops will be the way to go forward. And some of you heard, and we talked about vegetables being in shortage. And the other day, we were talking to some people from Manchester in UK, and they couldn't find tomatoes in the market. Where is this world really ending up? If tomatoes cannot be found in UK, people are the vegetable end of the market, or the growing of the market, is becoming very constrictive. Importation is also being very restrictive in a lot of areas because of all the different regulations. And we've been fighting with CAFIS for many years that it becomes commercial unviable if you continuously maintain certain level of restrictions, because trade across borders become very difficult. As it is, production in Kenya is at a very high cost level. So you source, either producing from Zambia or something, and we're looking at Tanzania as being our center of production, which sometimes makes sense, but you want to stick to obviously your local home, and you want to make that a production center, and that's what we are working on most of the time with Rogers. And that's why he's been placed in Tanzania, to then extend our production base for maize especially. Because maize, we project that in the next 2 to 3 years at least 5,000 tons. I very, very pleased again to reward our top customers. I think that's a tradition that we've set in the company, and we are always very pleased to work with you, with the farmers at large. We extend all the way up to probably 2 million, 3 million farmers in the Horn of Africa, plus also the sub-Saharan part of Africa right now. So we've talked of China, we've talked of Russia, but now I think it's time for Africa as well. So those US days and whatnot, really, they're done for those guys. It's Africa to come up as well. And we are way behind. I wouldn't say we can, reach that sort of level of economy that China and Russia have commanded, but we've got time as well. But we have got very, very interesting workforce. We have brains. We have the right attitude towards all this, and we are hungry. That's the most important thing. We are hungry to reach a certain level of where we can also have this economic power, and we can share with the world our innovations. Thank you.
Sasa ile shida tuko nayo kama wakulima, tunajianza kwa nguvu sana. Alafu tunaenda kama ni mambo ya maji. Hasa this time kwa Kenya tumeona mambo ya climate changes. Ukitegemea mvua, unaona chakula yote umepanda na yote imekufa. Sasa sijui hapo serikali itatusaidia aje juu iko hapa. Mumeona Kenya kabisa hatuwezi kutegemea mvua. Tukitegemea mvua, hata mtuuzie mbegu zenu, mtuuzie fertilizer, mfanye all the system, itakuwa zero, kwa sababu utapanda mbegu na haitamea juu. Mvua ndio hasa chakula, hutegemea mvua kwa 90% ya chakula ni maji. Hiyo sasa ningeomba tu muangalie kuhusu hiyo maji sana, vile mtatusaidia na maborehole. Na ni aibu sana, ninasemaga mara mingi, nchi kama hii ya Kenya iko na rutuba kubwa. Tuko na udongo kama nasemanga kama Israel, nasikiaga wanapanda. Sijawahi kanyanga huko, labda kuwe na mmoja nataka kunipeleka nione kilimo ya Israel, but mimi nasikiaga hawana mchanga, wanabebaga mchanga na wanaweka kwa bucket, alafu wanalima na wanatoshelesha nchi yao. Sasa hii nchi yetu ya Kenya tuko na udongo, tuko na maji. Imagine ni chini tu kidogo 130 200 meters maji inatoka juu na itasave nchi yetu. Kwa hivyo ni mzuri President amefuata mambo ya barabara sana, barabara. Sasa edeni the other way round kwa maji. Ndio tupate na maborehole, tupate na madam, ndio tuweze kuendelea kwa kazi. Kama mimi nilifunzwa kutoka nikiwa mdogo kwa 4K Club. Tulikuwa na 4K Club. Mama yangu alikuwa ananiambia, "Chika hivi viazi 8." Na ningeomba serikali ifuatilie watoto wadogo wape fikira za ukulima ndio wawe na hiyo kitu sana kwao. Mimi nilipokuwa nikipewa na mama yangu viazi 8 nipande, nikipanda hizo viazi 8 naona zimetoa kila viazi natoa 23 potatoes. Sasa hiyo inaniweka moral, hata ikanifanya nikumbuke mama vile alikuwa ananionyesha. After kuwa kwa biashara nikatoroka nikaenda kwa ukulima. Na in fact kwa ukulima ni pesa tupu. Si mnaniona? In fact, ninakaa sangi. Ukulima, watu tupotelea kwa ukulima kwa sababu in fact ukulima ni ute wa mgongo, na kwa ukulima kuna pesa kama utaifanya na njia yenye inastahili.
A lot has changed. Sometimes you go in some of these places and you find there's so much post-harvest losses. The way they are dealing with their nyanyas and all that, when other countries just around, they are looking for all these and they can't get. So sometimes I ask myself, what's the problem with us? The other end, they are suffering, they don't have enough. Here, we are wasting. Who is not thinking, what's the missing link between all this? If we are good in production, let's concentrate on this. Let's get information about where we can take this. And that information is there because I sit in one of the boards that help farmers to get market for their produce somewhere outside this country. But also the local market is big. It's big. I was very impressed by what she was saying. She's an expert in the local market. With 1,000 is it cabbages per week? Is it 1,000? 200,000. That's massive. When you think about the number you've created in terms of employment, directly and indirectly in the value chain, the people, supplying the drivers and all that is massive. So what we just need is probably to improve on our systems a little bit and know exactly how different we can do and probably improve in terms of the processes and what we are doing.
The breeders, or rather the companies, they have done a lot of research on new seeds and new seeds that can be. There is even a seed that is called water efficient maize for Africa. There is even a seed that is even resistant to pests and diseases, like now the stalk borers and the like. There is even seed that now matures faster, so that it can be able to utilize the available rainfall within the short period that is available. Now, in some areas, we have witnessed a new emerging problem where maybe during the harvesting season, there is very heavy rain. So we are even now talking about like now the varieties which used to mature within 6 months. We want a variety that can mature within 4 or 5 months, so that during that time, the farmer will have harvested before now the heavy rains come. And we have been told about some varieties which mature within 4 months and you still get the same kind of yield. So we are looking at profit, apart from quality, the productivity of the seed. And the challenge we've been giving the seed companies is to make sure that they now breed, given this climate change, so that whatever they are breeding is in line, or rather it's addressing the issues that the farmers are grappling with. Inadequate rainfall, higher temperatures, maybe depressed rains, the emerging pests and diseases, and this is where now biotechnology comes in. And I'm happy that recently, even His Excellency the President lifted the ban on GMO. We can utilize biotechnologies to make sure that we breed seeds that can be able to survive better in the harsh environment that we are having.
Na sisi kama kampuni ya East African Seed tumeshughulika sana katika kukuza mimea ambayo tunasema ni climate smart varieties. Na hizi ni zile varieties za mbegu ambazo zinachukua muda mfupi sana kukomaa na mahitaji yake ya maji pia ni kidogo. So tunakuza hizo teknolojia na tunategemea kwamba mwaka huu mbegu zetu zitaweza kusaidia wakulima, kwa sababu tuna aina za mbegu kama zile ndengu, tuko na cowpeas ambazo zinavumilia jua sana, na tuna advise wakulima wetu pia maharagwe. Tuna maharagwe ambazo ni nzuri sana, zile tunaita biofortified, zile tunasema ziko na high zinc na iron, na zitasaidia sana wakulima wetu especially wakati mvua ni kidogo sana. Pia tuna mimea ya mahindi ambayo tunajua mahindi ni mmea wa maana sana hapa nchini, na tunategemea kwamba utaweza kuwasaidia wakulima wetu especially wakati tunaambiwa mvua itakuwa kidogo sana. ningependa kuambia wakulima wetu na kuwashauri ni kwamba wakati tunaambiwa mvua itakuwa kidogo, tafadhali tusikimbie kupanda ile mimea tumezoea, tupande mimea ambayo itakomaa haraka zaidi na mvua kidogo. Hiyo itaweza kutusaidia kuwa na food security ambayo ni kampeni kubwa sana hapa nchini. So wakati tunapanga kupanda, usipande tu kile umezoea, kuwa mjanja, kuwa mkulima mwerevu, panda mimea ambayo itakomaa haraka iwapo mvua itakuwa kidogo. Na kama umezoea kupanda mahindi sana ambayo inachukua muda mrefu, panda mahindi ambayo yanachukua muda mfupi. Kama umezoea kupanda mahindi sana, panda maharagwe pia, kwa sababu itakusaidia kupata mapato wakati mvua itakuwa kidogo.
Result huwa tuna test kwanza hii mbegu tuone percentage yake, wale tutasari out combination methods using different combination kama hii
no, this is
So this one is somehow so this one is more affordable.
Because we have until they say stop it, I have to promote kubadilisha. Tumia Concord hii wiki. Next then finish with Shaman Boron, efficiency on the net. Then
okay, Steve. Nice to meet you.
lazima